One of the few bright moments for the Balmain Tigers this year. This season, the Tigers left Leichhardt Oval behind, and they will play their home matches at Parramatta Stadium in 1995. Leaving Leichhardt behind was about cold, hard economics. It's unlikely the Tigers would have survived the corporate game of rugby league if they'd stayed there. Hopefully, they'll go on to a bright future, but in leaving Leichhardt behind, they say farewell to a ground rich in character. Part of that charm is a place called Wimpy's Well, and Tim Sheridan has the story.
Goodbye, tiger, chasing those Dolce Vita times.
One afternoon last month, the Tigers and Leichhardt Oval exchanged goodbyes. It was an emotional day, a sad one, but the age of the stadium has put every suburban rugby league ground on notice, and Balmain is the latest to face the full-time whistle. It may mean survival, but two of the youngest Tigers have a story to tell about what we lose when the sun sets on a ground like this one. Two 19-year-olds, winger Chris Morecambe and centre Grant Stewart, made first grade just in time for that last match. They both have bright futures, and Balmain found them in the bottom of a well, under the stand at the southern end of Leichhardt.
Well, mate, this is what's known as Wimpy's Well. You're welcome.
Ray Gerry has been Wimpy for as long as he can remember, and Balmain for even longer. Originally, these disused dressing rooms were a gift from the Mayor of Leichhardt to shelter players' partners from the cold while the team showered in the main stand. Ray felt compelled to decorate.
A bit of paintwork, a bit of art history, you know, just to brighten it up.
Looks like a scrunched up pair of wet shorts or something.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it was. A pair of Balmain football shorts with some white paint on it was thrown against the wall.
The next thing he knew, Wimpy was feeding the players after training.
Tawny Fraser was kind enough to give us a stove from a flats he had. This was a classic. This was fallen off the back of a truck. But I was a truck driver at the time, so I can't say too much about it.
So you stopped and picked it up?
I stopped and picked it up, yeah. Well, it was pretty hard to get in. It's a mortuary slab table.
Oh, dear me.
The slab table, that was given to us by the late Jack Dowling, arranged that for us.
So it wasn't the one he was on, was it?
No, it was before he died. And so we've nights there we've had pasta. Comes in handy, we fill it up with there, and the boys come in and have a feed.
In Wimpy's Well?
In Wimpy's Well, yeah.
On game days, Wimpy would wait for the main bar to close and sell drinks to a few ex-players. Wimpy's Well became liquid, so to speak, and needed to be, given the after-training appetites of 3 grades. But there was still some cash left over, so Ray Gerry hatched a scheme to bring young and gifted players down from the bush and look after them.
When did you first hear of Wimpy's Well?
Oh, Wimpy was the one that got us trialling and that. And when we first came down here, was to stay in the well. He said, we got a place for you to stay where you'll eat dinner and have breakfast and all that. And that was it. It was the well. So that's where we first heard of that.
He brought us in, looked after us and that, fed us well. And they took care of all that fitness part and that. So when we went out and played football and that, it helped us.
Stay on the first grade wing all the year. The year after, when you're 20, probably move into Sems. Bit of experience.
Ray Gerry is a good football head. He played grade and will assist with Balmain's under-21s next year. He's also a family man, but the household he ran at Leichhardt was unusual to say the least. For these two, it was a home ground in the truest sense of the term. From the outside, this looks like a private box, but if the sponsors only knew just how they were helping the Balmain cause.
It's a room with a view, Ray.
Yeah, well, there's not many walk-in wardrobes with a view, is there? Yeah, we used to spread the clothes out a bit. The boys used to come in here, grab a pair of shorts, T-shirts for training. It was pretty early in the morning, so they weren't worried what they wore. The idea was I'd wake them up in the morning, they'd have a run, a swim, breakfast, catch a sleep for an hour, and they'd have an hour and a half workout in the gym. And they usually crashed after that again, and wake them up in the afternoon for another session of training with ball work and weights and skills. So it was a pretty hectic day for them. You know, they didn't have much time to themselves.
What was the earliest he ever woke you?
Oh, about 5 o'clock.
You're joking.
5 o'clock in the morning. Getting up. Took us a while to get up, like. And just jumped in the cold shower and that just to wake ourselves up a bit.
Versatile mentor that he is, Wimpy even supervised these two in their final year at school. There are no shortcuts in a scholarship from Wimpy's Well, but ex-students love Ray Gerry like a father. Grant Stewart celebrated his graduation with a couple of tries against Easts as the season was winding down.
How much credit would you give the Well and Ray for your football career as it stands at this point?
Oh, well, if we didn't have the Well, I wouldn't be here now. I'd be at home with my parents, so I give it a lot of credit.
Did it help you meet the other players and feel part of the Tigers?
Yeah, it made it feel welcome and that, and like for a boy from the bush and that coming down, it's a bit hard. So you come in Wimpy's Well and that, have a feed, have a bit of yarn with the boys and that, get to know them all good.
A lot of heroes around the walls, all Balmain boys.
All Balmain boys, yeah.
I bet you're sad to leave here, are you?
Oh, yeah. I've had a ball. I've done what I wanted to do and enjoyed doing it. That's what it's been all about. You know, and the people who's afraid of us on the wall, like them as my friends.
Goodbye, Tiger.
Name a Balmain player from the modern era, and they've all enjoyed Wimpy's company under the old stand at Leichhardt. It began as a tea room and became the inner sanctum for the players and their coach.
Funniest one was Frank Stanton used to bring the first grade in here, sit them down and get them all talking and arguing and that, and then Frank would go outside and listen outside.
Through the window.
Through the window, everybody got over. So Frank had all the guts on it next day, so trained them accordingly.
Maybe the Well these days is concerned with not much more than feeding the remains of the Tiger spirit at Leichhardt. But Wimpy will always remember it as the place that made his wish come true.
I always said to people that if you bring kids from the country, you've got to look after them. You know, you can't just bring them down first up, throw them out to the woods themselves, you know, because after the training that these kids are going to do, no one wants to go home and cook a meal, you know, and that's good news for Kentucky Fried and Pizza Hut, but it's not the way that, you know, you'll succeed.
So you don't want Wimpy's Well to dry up?
No, actually, I was thinking of getting the caravan and taking it to Parramatta Stadium, call it Wimpy's Meals on Wheels.
It's not the Regent blocker, but it did its job.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the Regent, but it was home. It was got some great memories still at the Well there, and good to see the young fellows come along. Wimpy's a great man. Sport needs more people like him, especially rugby league, and he was a tremendous fellow to all us blokes. Like a dad, second dad he was.
Did you spend much time there yourself? Lived there?
Oh, I used to live there. We used to cook up a great feed, Wimpy, and then go home and have a feed.
It looked like you ate there a few times.
Well, mate, you can joke about it, but mate, it's good memories for us.
So they're going to have a Wimpy's Well with the Sydney Tigers?
Well, as he said, he's going to. I'm sure he'll have something there, a hot dog stand or something like that. But he's a great man, Wimpy, and I'm sure you'll probably go there now, and he'd be walking around the hills picking up papers or doing something for Leichhardt Oval.
Is it the same way it was when you first arrived? I mean, other than a bit of a paint job?
Exactly the same. The only thing, and a couple of different photos on the wall. But he's been there ever since, and you know, he's a great bloke for Balmain and a real staunch supporter.
So you're not a Balmain boy anymore. You're a Sydney Tiger.
Well, I don't know what I am, mate, but I still got a soft spot for the Tiger. I played there for a lot of years, and Wimpy will always be there. He's a great fella.
Good on you, Block. Okay, we are at the football stadium. It's the sun's setting. The grand final is all over, but we've still got a little way to go to the finish line. We'll be back after this break.